We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Unit 44, Issue 1. This is a 4-issue miniseries from Alterna Comics in 2019. It's written by Wes Locher with art by Ed Jimenez. And we find these two secret agents, Agent Hatch and Agent Gibson. They're obviously working at Area 51 and they need to locate the hyper-ion drive. But Gibson forgot to pay for the external offsite storage, which is actually just in a regular old storage unit. And it gets sold at an auction. They get sold to two half-wits who don't know what they have, and the two agents have to go get it. They have to recover everything or they're going to be in big trouble. So they head out to find these locals and they try and blend in, but things don't go quite according to plan. This was actually a really funny book. The banter between Gibson and Hatch was pretty good. Obviously, Hatch is the way cooler one, and I thought the dialogue was just outstanding between them. The art is good. At times it looks a little rigid, but not too bad. It's usually just the background, and I really don't like Gibson's hair. But otherwise, I thought it was fun. The art is fun, it's simplistic, but it works really well for what they're doing here. And the characterization was great. Everybody is really, really fun and interesting and believable. And the scenarios are really, really silly and over the top, but that's what makes them great. If they do a movie version of this, Patrick Warburton should play Hatch. Perfect for the part, and he could deliver these lines as deadpanned as they sounded in my head, which made them hilarious. Overall, this was a really, really fun book, and I'm looking forward to reading the next issue. So if you can track this down, absolutely pick it up. It's worth the money. I would say it's easily better than a lot of the new stuff on the stands from the big two. So if you can find it for less than cover price of a regular issue, I'd pick it up. It's on newsprint, so there is that. Be aware of that if that's something you're worried about. But I don't think it's an issue. And the cover's really cool, even though that scene doesn't appear in the book. It was a really fun read, and I thought it was a really funny book. So I was glad I picked it up. I'm going to try and get issue 2 read and recorded as soon as possible because I'm looking forward to reading it. That'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links to my Patreon, Streamlabs, and Teespring store are in the description. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one. Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Unit 44, Issue 2. This is part of a 4-part miniseries from Alterna Comics from 2019. Words and letters by Wes Locher. Ed Jimenez was the artist. Now we follow Hitch and Gibson as they report to their boss and explain what happened with the storage unit and how they accidentally haven't been paying the bills. And he's really upset because they have to retrieve that crystal. And the crystal turns out to have an important significance to what's going on. We go over to the villain hideout, which is about 50 miles outside of Area 51, and we learn who stole the contents of the storage locker from the two crazy guys that ran the thrift store. And it turns out to be a former comrade of Ballard's, who's the boss. And we learn what happened in Roswell and where the alien came from and how the alien was kept alive, and it really is just sort of a freeloading sponge that still won't leave them alone. And the crystal was supposed to be for communication, so we might have an alien invasion problem on our hands, as well as a former secret agent going to some extremes to try and do some shenanigans. So a lot happens in this issue. We get a lot more going, and it's still a lot of fun. It was a funny issue. This was really an underrated series. The art's not going to appeal to everyone, but it does have kind of a over-the-top comical look to it, which really, really works for the book. There's only a few panels I thought needed some work, but overall, this was a fun book, and I'm real excited to read issue 3. This is a great little series, and I'm glad I bought it. Absolutely going to recommend this. So far, it's just a humorous sci-fi book that's a lot of fun that would make a really good movie or a TV miniseries. But I really like the characters, and I think they're just all around funny, and it's not threatening. There's a few Groflex in here, which kind of annoys me because I hate that. But aside from that, I wouldn't have a problem giving this to any teenager. So absolutely worth checking out for yourself or someone else. So if you get a chance to pick it up, I highly recommend doing so. You should be able to find it cheaper than the average new comic on the stands. It was originally $1.50. I'm sure you could find it for less than cover price of a new book without trying too hard. I would recommend this over a Marvel or DC book from what I've seen of their current lineup. So if you can, grab it. This is absolutely a fun, interesting concept. That'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links to my Patreon, Streamlab, and Teespring store are in the description. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one. Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Unit 44, Issue 3. This is part of a 4-part miniseries from Alterna Comics in 2019. Written and lettered by Locher. Ed Jimenez did the art. Now, Agents Hatch and Gibson have got a lead, thanks to another agent who found some footage of the truck stealing all the merchandise out of the storage unit. So, they have to don some jetpacks and get over there and save the day before the alien invasion happens. Well, they run into some obstacles. And it turns out that Albright, who is their boss's former partner, who ended up having to deal with the alien and went crazy, may be a little ahead of them. And they have to deal with his female assistant, who they actually know because she infiltrated them. And things get crazy. It's got jetpacks, it's got aliens, it's got missiles, all sorts of crazy stuff. Again, this was a really fun book. It does use Growflex, which annoys me because I find that to be lazy when writing. So if you can't use the swear word, don't use the little symbols. But it was a really fun read. And the art is pretty solid. Again, I kind of have issues with some of the head-on looks at Hatch, but from the side he looks fine, and from the side he looks like Patrick Warburton, who would be perfect casting for him in this movie, because this should be a movie. This would be hilarious. So another solid issue, and a lot of fun gags and jokes and references in here. This is absolutely worth tracking down. I believe it was collected in a trade paperback, but Alterna put out some really great material, and this is no exception. You could probably enjoy these on their own, but the cohesive story is really, really good. So I highly recommend tracking these down. You should be able to find them for about the same price as a new issue or less, and they're much better reads, quite frankly, than most of the big two. So I can't praise these enough. I think they're a lot of fun, and it's actually really entertaining. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links to my Patreon, Streamlabs, and Teespring store are in the description, and as always, we hope to see you on the next one. Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Unit 44, Issue 4. This is a 4-part miniseries from Alterna Comics in 2019, written by Locher with art by Ed Jimenez. The cover is pretty cool. It's an homage to an old X-Factor issue with Apocalypse, and I think it's done pretty well. There's nobody with that big of a head, it's just a metaphor. So we start off with the alien invasion going in full swing. The aliens and the military are shooting each other. The two storage locker guys are out there too. They've got some weapons, and Gibson is trying to recover the crystal from Albright, but things aren't looking good, and Hatch is trying to figure out if he's gonna have to train a new partner, and he really doesn't want to do that. He actually kind of likes this one. He joins the fray and tries to shoot some aliens, and that's when the crystal starts getting passed around from group to group, but the alien remembers Albright and how much he liked him, and of course that leads into more shenanigans, but in the end the heroes figure out a solution, and their boss is in a body cast. But it's a fun solution the way they work things out for Albright, and they do manage to wrap things up pretty nicely. I think it really lended itself well to the type of storytelling they were doing. Just kind of a spoof on Warehouse 13 and X-Files. I thought it was a lot of fun. It wraps up really well and leaves the door open for a sequel, and I hope they do a sequel to this because it was a great book. It wasn't too serious, it wasn't too over the top, it was just the right amount of silly for it to be a really fun read. And it's a good T for teen and up book, so the language and situations might be a little too adult for younger readers, but it's absolutely an entertaining read. And I'm glad I read it. I was kind of surprised at how much I liked it, because I didn't think I'd like it at all, but it turns out to be a really good book. So I'm probably going to keep this one and add it to my collection because I enjoyed it that much. And I'll probably pick it up in trade paperback just so I can reread it without damaging the original issues. So absolutely a good addition to anybody's sci-fi collection for comics, and I thought the dialogue was really witty. So overall, a solid work. The art's good, the dialogue's good, the concept was great. Definitely a fun read. That'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links to my Patreon, Streamlabs, and Teespring store are in the description, and as always, we hope to see you on the next one.